Here's a topic that's very important to the world, and it's something I've learned along the way too. It's called child support and spousal support. Next little while you'll be hearing about that. Listen up. When you choose to make a child, you'll have to take care of that child forever. Even when it's 30, 35, 40, 50, it's daddy's job. And today, it's the new millennium, right? So it's both daddy and mommy's job. 50-50 down the middle. So there are lots of ups and downs with those topics. Okay? People are wondering why they have to pay and why they don't have to pay. First off, if you can't afford to pay, there's a chart, a Canadian chart now. And it goes that way. For those fathers that are true fathers and that want to pay, but you can't afford it, there's a bracket. If you fall into that bracket, you won't have to pay until you make a little more money. And that's how the judges decide that. Fact of life. Another thing, adultery screws it all up for everybody. There is no spousal support to pay when adultery is committed. Fact of life. When you get married, you sign a contract. And you're supposed to both respect each other till death do you part. I've been married 6 times. And all 6 relationships cheated me. So as for me, STephane Poulin, Vrai De Vrai, I have no spousal support to pay at all. And that's kind of cruel. But most women I've been with are already well taken care of. Fact of life. Spousal support also stops when your partner decides to remarry. Fact of life. Those aren't my rules. Those are Canadian rules. Laws. When it comes to child support, it's a totally different ballgame. If you can't afford to pay for your child, there's a bracket where you'll be alright. If you can afford to pay for your child, then you have to. Even when adultery is committed. Fact of life. Another thing that you should remember, you need DNA proof in order to be able to receive that money. Fact of life. Now, there are numbers of children under my name as me as the daddy. Only one is actually mine out of all of them. Far from being a deadbeat dad. Fact of life. With DNA proof, even if mommy remarried, or vice versa, daddy remarries, those monies are still owed. Fact of life. As for my first wife, I owe them nothing. Sounds cruel, but it's a fact of life. They're not mine. I agreed to be daddy figure, father figure, to teach them and guide them in the right direction. I agreed that if I have the money, I will pay for their college funds. I agreed that if you had let me raise them while they were with me, I would have paid, and while they were with you, you would have paid. Those are facts, and that's how it should be done. Otherwise, a lot of women and men get married, and they have the plan to leave them in 5 years in order to rake up some more cash. Hey, that's cruel. Very cruel. Another thing, We know in America there's a lot of sperm daddies out there. Those children can't turn around and go after the daddy afterwards in order to get some money. Fact of life. If the mother who carried you just wanted the child with no ties to the father does not have to pay. Fact of life. So be wise when you want to make a child. Don't be stupid about it. Here's a little tricky one. My last relationship. First child was mine. Technically speaking, I should pay for that child forever, because we did live together and we had made a promise to each other. Here's where she got screwed. She decided to have a second child with someone else. Now mommy on that side has to take care of both those children. If you decide to have babies with different daddies, daddies are not deadbeat for not paying. Fact of life. That's something that's very important. Very important. Otherwise you're causing battles. Battles that shouldn't even exist. I've been married 6 times. All 6 women cheated on me. Committed adultery. Fact of life. Annulled spousal support. Technically speaking, those 6 women should have taken each their turn in supporting me after we split up. Pretty fucked up, huh? I would say so. As for the children that were involved, DNA test is the only way. 2, I will not give money to the ex thinking that she's going to use it to raise the child. So we found 2 kick-ass ways to have that money generated to the right spot. 1, by offering to pay when they're with us. 2, by paying for their college. Extra money will not teach them anything. Extra money spoils them. Spoiled children look to be spoiled as adults, and they learn nothing that way. Too many women also play that game. That is against the law. Fact of life. As for the 1 child that is mine, she will be well taken care of. But they're not allowed to go back and come after my settlement and say they want a piece of that money. Don't work that way. I scored the money after the relationship. Entitles them to nothing. Fact of life. Remember that. Thought for knowledge. As for children in other relationship with other parents and stuff, I don't know if I can help. That's not my responsibility. But as for the children in my life, you're already being taken care of. Fact of life. Just because you can't see that my eye is green, you know who I am. I know who you are. I have no support to pay. Biologically, you are not mine. Now that might hurt when you hear these words, But with time, the pain will go away. That's why that song was written, Someday, in the Angel Heart album. Fact of life. As for my last relationship, she screwed herself. As for the child that is mine, I will be taking care of it. There will be an account open, and I will put some money of my own inside that account. There's no way in hell I'll be giving that money to the mother. Ever. I want to make sure that child receives the money. So when that child turns 18, that child will be handed over the account. Fact of life. As for the other children in my life, I will not make you a promise that I might not keep. But when the time comes, if I can afford it, you'll be taken care of also. I'm not a cruel person. It's unfortunate that our relationship ended the way they ended. Very unfortunate. But nonetheless, if I have the monies and the power to hand over a little extra money to the children, I will try and make that possible. Fact of life. I don't have to. But as a father, I wouldn't mind at all. In a lot of countries, you go to prison when you don't pay child support. That's another fact of life. Well, in Canada, you don't go to prison, but they make your life a living hell. Fact of life. So on the children's side, if you can prove with the DNA test, then things might change a little. Now remember, you can't use that DNA test and use it for harassment. You technically have to bring that to court. Or find them. Most daddies are pretty cool about it. Fact of life. Here in Canada, we don't go to jail. In the United States of America, you do. So ladies, choose wisely. Another thing, when you prove it, you can't just go to court and not have the daddy there. He has to be able to defend himself. So you can't just go get an order done and then call the police and try to have them arrested. He won't be able to pay child support if he's stuck in jail. That's called provocation. And one thing you have to remember is if you end up putting your daddy in jail because he didn't pay child support, after he comes out in 30 days, he no longer has to pay you anything. It's serve the time or wait for the money. Thought for knowledge. So it actually becomes a case-by-case matter. Not quite the same for every human being. Look in my case. I've got no support to pay. Like I said, technically speaking, in court, these women would have support to pay towards me. And I'm not willing to accept that. I'm a man, I can take care of my own. thought for knowledge. And one last thing on this subject. If the Children's Aid Society steals your children, they're screwed, including the child. Now that's harsh to say, but it's a fact of life. So in my case, I could have used just that as an example to free myself from paying that. Fact of life. I'm not going to use that. I will pay for the one child that is actually mine. The account will be opened and that monies will go to that child when that child turns 18. Fact of life. Remember that. These are all facts on the laws that you, the people, have put together in the last 2,000 years. STephane Poulin, Le Vrai De Vrai.